Everybody, happy Friday and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing. It is Friday, the 27th of September. I'm Derek Clark and I'm joined this morning by Chris Jack to discuss the big talking points from last night's Europa League win over Malmo. What a win it was. Chris, how are we doing?
Not too bad, Derek. A number of people concerned of your well-being this morning. There's suggestions of you sleeping in, of you sleeping out places other than your digs. Safe to say you had an interesting and a good night.
Night in the away end for the first time in a long time. So that was absolutely superb. Great to see so many Rangers Review fans as well heading over to the game and also in the stadium as well. So had a great time. It was absolutely bonkers in there, as you can imagine. But yeah, listen, it was a superb night, superb game. Fortunately, I'm staying at a friend's house. He stays over in Copenhagen. Unfortunately for me, probably he started work at 5 this morning. So yeah, we had a few beers last night, and then we hot-footed it back from Malmo to Copenhagen. So if he wasn't up at 5, then I think it's fair to say that my appearance on today's show was in jeopardy. But yeah, it was a great day yesterday. I don't think many, speaking to a few fans heading up to the game, many would have taken a draw. I would have taken a draw beforehand, Chris. So I thought Rangers were good value for 2-0. In all honesty, it should have been dead and buried by half time, and Rangers should have scored a fair few more. But you'll take any sort of positive result away from home in Europe in a 2-0 victory. I know you and Joshua discussed it yesterday on the show, the post-match reaction video, but it's a great start. It's a statement win, Chris. Do you not think?
I think it's got that feel about it. Now we spoke, as you mentioned, I spoke to Josh on the show yesterday, as we did in the morning, of the importance of the Europa League to Steven Gerrard in particular, when he was building that new side. When Gio had that magnificent run to Seville, a lot of that side was clearly already established. I think if you go back to 2018, you look at what Gerrard inherited, what he then had to do in that summer, and then look at the importance of European football to that. I think that night in Ufa, I made the trip over there, a really bizarre place, a bizarre trip, but in the grand scheme of things, that night in Ufa was just so important, I think, for Rangers, because it gave them that group stage football, and we saw the evolution of that team. We saw the evolution of those players. They were able to take their game on. They improved technically, they improved tactically. I think it did wonders for Steven as a manager as well. Clabonk is obviously more experienced. He's obviously got more silverware behind him in a managerial capacity. He's managed at the highest level. So the Europa League might not do much for him, but for a new squad that are still getting to know each other, that are still gelling, that are still trying to improve. And I think for the individual components of it, I thought someone like Conor Barron last night was excellent, looked really, really accomplished in the middle of the field. Casemiro obviously comes in at left back and was really good. There's a number of guys in that squad who are taking not their first steps, but really early steps in their Rangers careers in terms of European competition. And a result and a performance like that can only help them. As the manager said last night in his press conference, they have to now take it on. They have to capitalise on it. It can't just be, well, we have set a new bar. That new bar has to be met, and it has to be raised once again for Rangers to keep going forward in this positive vein.
Any of that. Lots of comments coming in off the back of it. Blues and Blue 72 here says, great to see the manager's plans coming together. We all raise an eyebrow at times, but he's shown the progress being made with the squad. Well, I did say, I think by October we should start seeing the team gelling and playing as a unit and seeing the real true potential of them. And yeah, it did felt like a big win for Rangers last night. There's no two ways about it. Let's talk some of the individuals that played a big part in the win, Chris. I thought Barami was good over on the left-hand side. Of course, we talked yesterday about Oscar Cortez being out for several weeks. It certainly looks like Barami's position at this moment in time for the foreseeable future. Anyway, of course, Ravi Matondo still out at this moment in time as well. Cyril Dessers will be thanking his lucky stars that he tapped at home after a minute of the game. Still can't believe how he managed to miss that opportunity. And the one in the second half when he was flagged offside, where he nearly hit the ball out for a shy, was another one that you're thinking, what's Cyril? But we all know, I think part of the game you're looking at it, and then it would have been good to have another option to bring off the bench up front. Zach Lovely, it's good to see him in the matchday squad. Hamza Igaman, Chris, not available. Very strange situation. Passport issues with regards to him. Not ideal, and the manager wasn't best pleased about it.
No, not at all. We're still waiting on the full story, I think, to come out from that one. I know the boys that were in the stadium last night were trying to kind of get to the bottom of it. It was just phrased as passport problems or passport issues. That's quite a wide scope of potential things that have gone wrong. So we still don't know what the full situation is there and why Hamza wasn't able to make that trip. As we said on the show with Josh before the game, it's unlike the manager to kind of keep that type of thing from us. Usually, when it comes to selection things and injury things, he is quite open, not in terms of really detailing timelines, but if someone isn't available who we expect to be available, he usually flags it up. Perhaps it just slipped his mind pre-match in his press conference. But I'm surprised that he wasn't asked about it on TNT Sports before the game. Clearly, it's something that has upped him. Clearly, it leaves Rangers, and it did leave Rangers short of another option. It would have been a useful option. You mentioned Cortez and his injury. We spoke about that after the presser on Wednesday. Matondo still out. So it was a blow. Thankfully, it didn't cost Rangers. Thankfully, the missed chances didn't cost Rangers either. You mentioned a couple of them there. For me, the Tierney one is almost the most glaring one. He has to, at the very, very least, he has to hit the target. If it clips the post, you can say he's unlucky. To not even hit the target at all is really poor. The Dessers and Bayrami one, it's just a lack of quality and a lack of decision making. I don't think the pass from Dessers in the way was that great, and having done so well to get himself in that position in the first place, it almost sums up Dessers. Now, like you mentioned with the Bayrami goal, Dessers does really well to read the pass. He goes around the keeper, keeps his composure, and then from a tightening angle, also hits the post. So thankfully, these moments didn't come back and cost Rangers, because I think I'm sure there've been a few people around you in that away end at half time, fearing the worst and saying, we know how this is going to go. We know Malmo can't be as bad second half as they were first half. I thought they were better after the break. Still didn't cause Rangers that many problems. But I'm sure, I said, there would have been plenty of people around you at the interval saying this has been good, but thankfully that but didn't come to fruition.
He was absolutely raging because he had Dessers on first goal, his first goal scorer. So he was fuming at half time. But anyway, good that he's a team player, and he set up Bayrami for his first Rangers goal. I'm sure that's what Big Cyril has been saying. Casemiro also guilty of missing a gilt-edged opportunity in that second half for his first goal for the club. But I thought he coped back, Chris. It was a bit of a raised eyebrow moment seeing him start the game. I didn't expect that to be the case. I thought that Dujon Sterling would get the nod. I wanted Robbie Fraser, as we all know, to start the game, but Casemiro started for the first time in a Rangers jersey. Thought he was decent enough on that left-hand side. The only issue for me, and it'll be Jeffy will come back in on Sunday, you'd imagine, but there was no real width on that left-hand side for Rangers, given that they're all right-footed over there.
It looked slightly lopsided, if you like. It's not again, if everyone is fit and everyone's available, that's not the left hand side that the manager picks for a European game, certainly away from home. It did look makeshift when you saw it written down and you saw the team come out. I thought in practice, though, it worked well. A number of nice moments from Bayrami. Great for him to get his first goal. As I said to Josh last night, I think that's his first one since his record-breaking effort at the Euros this summer. He likes an early goal. I'll give him that. But I thought he's clearly going to be more effective as a number 10 rather than operating from that left-hand side. As you say, when he's then got Casemiro in behind him, making his first start for the club, still obviously new to the club and new to the squad, that's going to be playing in his mind. He's going to realise he has to do more defensive work to help out there. But I thought the two of them did the job. They did the job really well. Really solid performances from both of them. Casemiro could even have had a goal himself right at the end. Had that chance. Sorry. But then just a couple of minutes later makes a good block at the other end, and that's what he's in the team to do. He's there to help the team keep a clean sheet. Overall, I thought that back four was good. I saw a wee bit of a comment last night on the show. People saying that Tav wasn't great. Other people saying that he thought he was more than decent. I thought he had a decent game himself. It certainly didn't look as leggy. It didn't look as sloppy as he has done in some previous matches this season. And I think that centre half partnership, again, something I touched on with Josh last night. I thought that partnership between Proper and Suter looked really solid. Suter probably edged it in terms of individual performance, but there was definitely a lot of positives from a defensive point of view, because I think this is a side that we've asked questions of defensively over the course of the season so far. They have looked easy to play through. They have looked easy to play against at times. That wasn't the case last night. And to go away from home, put in that performance in an attacking sense says a lot about where Rangers are. But I think defensively it was just as important. I said Malmo didn't really cause Rangers that many problems at all. I think that probably one of the most surprising aspects from the game, if you like, because I think we all expected Malmo to at least cause Rangers an issue somewhere. I know we went for scoring draws on our predictions. I think people expected Malmo to score, but Rangers handled that threat really, really well.
I was expecting more from Malmo, I've got to say. They didn't really cause issues. I know they had the goal disallowed, but Butland never really was called into action. I can't remember making them a proper save in the game, which was credit to the Rangers defence, Chris, because that's now 3 clean sheets in a row. And we know Walter's great teams in the past, you build from the back. And like you said, I think Proper and Suter, as Dana Life says, thought the defence was solid. Suter was a rock back there. They're building up a good partnership. I know that Robin Proper was quizzed about it after the game and about complimenting each other, Suter and Proper. Let's hope that's 3 going on many more clean sheets at the back, because certainly that's providing the foundations to go on and win matches.
It has to. I think we all had doubts over this side defensively at the start of the season. Even after Proper was brought in, I think he didn't really. He also came in and played early on, but didn't look like a huge improvement. I think in the last couple of weeks he's certainly been better. Suter, I think, has almost gone under the radar in the last couple of weeks, and that habit of keeping clean sheets is one that Rangers have to get into, and they have to stay in. That is going to give them that foundation going forward. They're now going into this run, even just over the next week or so. Hibs at Ibrox, Lyon at Ibrox, St Johnstone at Ibrox. 3 clean sheets gives you a great chance of getting three wins, and 3 wins really starts to see the team build some nice momentum after what we know has been a difficult start to the campaign. It was all about the reaction after the Champions League defeat to Dynamo Kiev. It was all about the reaction. I think a couple of games after that, it was average to be honest. It's then all about the reaction after the Old Firm game, and even bigger low. How do you kind of sleep on that for a fortnight? How do you work on things for a fortnight? How do you come back out of that? And to be fair to the team, they've come back out of it in a positive vein. I think there's still a long way to go. It's very much still a work in progress. But when you produce a performance like that, when you earn a result like that, it's only right that you then take the positives and you take the take the feel good factor out of it, and that should give Rangers a really nice bounce heading into the visit of Hibs and a fully open Ibrox on Sunday afternoon.
Of course, Hibs on the horizon. It will be a very different game, I would imagine. Haggis gets in touch. Baron Diomande looks solid. Proper and Sousa getting better as well. You can see with Jefty and Nana the type of athleticism PC wants from his fullback set. Yeah, absolutely agree with that. And Diomande for me, Chris, he's come in for a bit of criticism. I think fairly, it's fair to say, I don't think he's had the best of starts to the season. I thought he was good last night, and you need to see more from him in the main because he's a talented player, isn't he? You can see a little bit more from him.
I think people are judging him and perhaps being quite harsh on him because they realise what he can do. They realise what he's good at. I think he made a really solid impression when he came into the club and came into the team last season. I'd like to see him offer a bit more of a goal threat. He scored. St Johnstone was one. Was it Hibs at Ibrox? Or Hearts at Ibrox was the other one, I'm sure. Early on in his Rangers career, he is able to offer that. I'd like to see him do that slightly more. But I thought last night again, really, really solid, really good. We spoke a lot about that Baron Diomande partnership at the start of the campaign, how that looked like the two that Clement was going to put a lot of faith in. I think that faith long term will be repaid. I mentioned Baron earlier on, a number of people have mentioned him over the last few hours after the game finished. I thought Baron was really good, complemented Diomande really well. Different types, obviously, different attributes, but both of them really solid. Definitely something to build on. And I think that's almost the key thing from last night. Is this building block? Is that we know what these players are capable of? It's that bar. I think, as the manager said post match, it's the best performance of the season so far, but it can't be the best performance of the season overall. And that's as much for Conor Barron or Diomande or Dessers. That applies individually as much as it does collectively.
There was a nice moment last night when obviously players are coming over and getting the acclaim from the fans, and he was milking it to say the least. That the Conor Barron chant was being sung, and then Jack Butland in the nice wee moment sort of gave him a little pat in the back of the head to get him up the tunnel sort of thing. But he's loving life at Rangers. Chris, of course, we heard from him prior to the game when he was put up for the press conference. Spoken to, I think it was Joshua that was on with me, and I was speaking about Conor Barron and just how many games, how many minutes he's played so far. He's relishing that role. For me, him and Jefty is pushing him for a signing of the summer, but he's really making that position his own, and it looks like he's enjoying himself in that Rangers midfield. He's been a real shining light for me so far.
He's done what he had to do, and that's not to understate how solid he's been and how impressive he's been so far. But when you look at the way that Rangers went about their business in the summer, barring coming in early on, I think there was a lot of pressure on him to come in and go straight into the side and to settle and to hold down a spot. He couldn't have been one of the project players like Jefty. I think was kind of earmarked as that, but has gone on and been really impressive himself. He couldn't just be a squad option. You look at the makeup of that midfield. He had to come in, and as James says, he had to hit the ground running. I think he definitely has done. That says a lot about him from a technical point of view. It says a lot about him, I think, from a mental point of view as well. To come in and handle that weight of expectation. To handle that weight of the Rangers jersey. When I spoke to Kevin Thompson about him over the summer, around about the time that he signed, that was something that Kevin mentioned. That he made the point of when he made the move from Hibs, he believed he was going straight into that midfield. He was going to hold down a spot, and he was going to become a key part of that side. He didn't have the mentality of it's a big club, it's a big move. It'll take me 6 months to get up to speed. I think we've seen that from Conor Barron as well. He knows that he had to come in. The opportunity was going to be there for him, but it's one thing having the opportunity, it's another thing then being able to go and take it. And a performance like last night in a game last night, I think that says a lot about him.
Absolutely, and he's a shoo-in, I think, to start again on Sunday with, as John says, he's a pit bull in midfield. I really enjoy watching him, and Dean certainly has signing of the summer so far, so long may that continue. Moving on to Sunday then, Rangers back at Ibrox once again. Club released a statement, of course, yesterday. The full stadium open, Chris, which is great news.
It is. This was the game that's almost been earmarked for some time. When John Bennett spoke a few weeks ago and gave his latest update, it was almost, let's try and get back in by the end of this month. They also managed to do it slightly ahead of schedule with a game last weekend, obviously with the Copeland Weir still shut. It'll be great to see Ibrox fully open. Hopefully the fans respond to that. I've not checked the ticket sales and checked the website over the last few hours to see what the attendance is looking like. But hopefully there's going to be a real positive atmosphere. If Rangers had lost last night, it would have perhaps fed into a more negative vibe. But I'm sure, as you know, having been in that away end last night, everyone will be in high spirits. Everyone will be looking forward to getting back to Ibrox. It should give Rangers a real bounce, coming off the back of last night, going back to an Ibrox that's fully open, and it's looking the part once again. Hibs, safe to say, they've not had a great start to the season. I don't think you can ever take it as granted that Hibs will be an easy game. It won't be, but you would imagine Rangers, I say certainly on the back of last night, they should have enough about them. Even if there's a couple of changes to the squad, you'd imagine Rangers should have enough about them to go and get the job done. And that then feeds into a point I made earlier on about the momentum of coming back from the Old Firm game, doing what you had to do in the games after it to get Premiership points on the board, to progress in the Cup, to get a European win. The focus now on Sundays, obviously back on domestic duty, get another win, and that hopefully then takes Rangers into this run of fixtures coming up.
That away end again. I know we're fortunate enough that we can follow Rangers, and we do so in a professional capacity, and we're usually in the gantry and what have you. But that was the first time I think I've been in an away end since I was thinking about it last night. Scott's Wilder said I've redeemed myself on European away trips. Yeah, good record now. Last 3 games, 2 wins and a draw. So send me on more, please. Rangers review hierarchy, but just being as a fan there. I think the last time we went was Moscow, which was a good few years ago. So I don't think there's many supporters that can bring that sort of atmosphere. And it was incredible last night. A real privilege to be in and amongst it. Covered in beer, right enough. The beer was good, the Swedish beer, but it was terrific stuff. And I cannot wait for my next trip in and amongst the fans. So, yes, superb stuff. The team then for Sunday, Chris, it will be interesting to see what changes the manager will go for. As I touched on at the top of the show, Jeffrey comes back in for me over on the left-hand side. As he get decisions to make elsewhere in the team, I think that is the only change in the back line you would imagine. In the forward areas, I think he keeps the same trio, Czerny, Dessers and Bayrami, unless he perhaps, I don't think Czerny was, he'd done well enough. I still remain to be convinced about Czerny on that right-hand side. I want to see more from him. Midfield areas, as I touched on, Barron starts. You'd imagine Diamandi starts. Lawrence, I thought he was decent again last night. Does he keep his place? It's hard to make too many changes from a winning team last night, but would you be inclined to make more than just Jeffrey?
I think it'd be really interesting to see how Clement decides to go. He speaks a lot about this hectic schedule of this game every 3 days. He does have options in the squad, not as many as he would have wanted last night for different reasons. But now, so going back into Hibs, do you pick a team for Hibs with one eye on Leon? Do you pick a team for Leon with one eye on St Johnstone, because you know the importance of the domestic fixture? So really interested to see how we can mix these and matches. There are players like Barron, like Tavernier, certainly like Dessers, that have played a lot of minutes already. I don't think it'd be a case of you have to rest them too much, but do you start dipping them in and out now if things are going well on Sunday? Do you give Connor Barron the last 20 minutes off and maybe give someone like a Nico Raskin a chance? So really interesting to see how Clermont does it. I think David's making the point there. Shefty comes back in left and Casemiro on the right. I'd be surprised if Tav is the one that falls out. I think that back four, it was impressive last night. Unfortunately, I think Nana is the one that pays the price, and Jeffrey comes back in on that side, which perhaps slightly harsh on him, but that's life at Rangers. As Thomas says, I think Cherny is an interesting one. McCausland did what he had to do last night. Like he gets his chance. He makes the impact off the bench. The manager mentioned it a few weeks ago. I can't remember after which game it was, about McCausland working on that movement of going wide to central, going from right into the middle of the pitch, getting shots away on his left hand side. A great moment for him last night to come off the bench, having seen the team miss those chances and things could then get a bit nervy heading into the last 20 minutes, last 15 minutes, last 10 minutes. That was taken away as a possibility as soon as McCausland scores that goal. So a great moment from him. He could then argue, well, I've done my bit. I then deserve a start on Sunday. That's maybe a possibility. Give McCausland a game at Ibrox. Give him that chance as a reward for his efforts. Keep Cherny for Thursday night. Like you, I think there's definitely a player in there. I think you're right to say Rangers should be expecting a bit more from him. He's clearly got quality. I think we just need to see it a bit more often.
With that, still to be convinced about Cherny. Neil gets in touch. He says that I think PC should just play his best 11, use impact subs as needed. There's a lot of chopping and changing. Yeah, absolutely. You look at that last night and you think, Jeffy is the most likely, as we touched on there, to come back in. He would certainly be a change for me, but the manager has kept us guessing. He has thrown out a few surprise 11s this season already, as Haggis Light gets back in touch, start with our strongest 11 and make early changes if we can. Yeah, I would like to see Rangers get an early goal, get the game put to bed, take their opportunities that they passed up in large parts last night. Made it for a more could have made for a more relaxing and enjoyable second half than we had to wait until Ross McCausland's goal. But in the main, all's well, it ends well, as they say. And I'm sure the Bears had a party last night, long into. As Malky says, yeah, absolutely, we have to be more clinical on Sunday. Dessers, let's hope he's got his shooting boots on. I can't imagine that he'll make that change up top. Dessers will still lead the line, Chris, but it's just one of those ones. You just do not know what you're going to get with Cyril Dessers. But in the main, at home, domestically, he has been in decent form, 7 goals this season already. And I wouldn't bet against him getting another goal or two on Sunday.
I think overall last night, not getting a goal aside, I thought his performance was good. His record says one thing, his performances so often say other things. Like you look at the goals that he scores in black and white, you say he must be a really effective Rangers striker. You then see other parts of his game, hold up not the best, touch not the best, passing not the best at times. I think this guy's not fit to be a Rangers striker. You then look at the whole package, and I think the positives still outweigh the negatives overall. He's still a guy that's going to split opinion. He's still a guy who's going to have big backers within the support. Still a guy that's going to have big critics within the support. Right now, he's the best man for that number 9 job. I think, as Josh said yesterday on one of the preview shows, domestic football almost suits him better because he doesn't have to play that kind of leading the line role as such. He doesn't have to hold the ball up as much. He can, like his goal against Dundee, he can be turned and he can be facing the goal and try and get on the end of crosses. He's not that comfortable when he has to get Rangers up the park, when he has to be the man that the ball's played into. That's not his strength. Domestically, Rangers also operate very differently. And he should be he should be a good option on Sunday. Again, you would imagine comes back into the squad. I don't see him coming back into the starting lineup again. If things are going well, is there then an opportunity to give Cyril 20 minutes, 25 minutes off just to keep him fresh for Thursday night? But he's still going to be the main man at that in that number 9 role. But I thought overall last night he was really good. Didn't get his goal, but contributed enough overall to say it was a good performance, regardless of whether he scored or not.
Just a heads up, folks, no press conference this afternoon. The manager did a little bit extra after the press conference last night, previewing the game. You can watch both the manager and Robin Proper. They are speaking to Joshua and other members of the media over on the YouTube channel. Do go and check it out. Right, that'll do us there. Big thanks to Chris as ever, and thank you to you all for tuning in to the show, an enjoyable one after a memorable European night. Let's hope there is plenty more of them this season. So next up, Lyon next week, coming thick and fast. And then is it Nice or is it Olympiacos after that, Chris? It's one of the two. Next away one.
It's not Nice. It's November. I think Olympiacos is the next trip. Nice is November. That's the one I've got to look forward to. My European jaunt is further down the line this time around. So I also the two Ibrox games coming up with Lyon and then Steaua Bucharest really give Rangers a great chance to try and trying to build a bit of momentum in this one in this campaign. And Olympiacos is then at the start of November. Hopefully by that time, Rangers looking in a really strong position, and they can then also head to Nice in a slightly better or in a really strong place in this new league format.
Shout out to all the Bears I met last night, incidentally, as well. It was great to have a chat with you all, and thank you for your support. Right, that'll do us there. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy your Friday. Bye for now.